Hey, it's Tommy Fast Code. I'm gonna need y'all to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get to this stutter. Capo! Let me talk to you one time, but before we get to this stutter, I'm gonna need y'all to like, man. Like that thing, press that like button, and also hit that subscribe if you ain't subscribed already. Appreciate y'all. The crib now. Jim Jones, man. If you know anything about Jim Jones, he's about that vampire life, man. And that consists of staying up late at night and getting to that bag. You know what I'm saying? Chasing that paper, doing what you got to do. You know, the freaks come out at night. In so many words, right? So this was a conglomerate as well. It was almost comparable to Dipset, right? It was a bunch of artists that came over there under Vamp Life, right? Didn't hit the same, but, you know, it was kind of Bird Gang-ish, right? He had Trav over there. I believe Charlie Rock was over there. Some other people were over there. Sin City was over there. TWO. You know, there's a lot of people over there at a point in time, right? But, you know, they were all really from the East Coast. They were from New York, to be exact. But there was one particular individual, you know, who wasn't from New York, you know, and he goes by the name of Philthy Rich, man, Sim City Money Man, you know. If you know anything about Philthy Rich or, you know, West Coast, he's from the Bay Area. He's from Oakland. You know, Oakland is a very, you know, legendary place. Tupac Shakur's from there. Bruce Lee's from there. You know, and it's very dangerous over there. It's real. But, you know, there's a culture over there, you know, the hyphy culture, and there's also another culture, and it rhymes with yimp, right? 304 is over there, so they got that culture over there. So Jim Jones was, you know, collaborating with Philthy Rich, right? And Philthy Rich is one of those artists who doesn't need a label. He doesn't need a label at all. He can do whatever he wants. If anything, he just needs distribution, which he got distribution from Empire. Now, Philthy Rich, you know, needed this look from Jim Jones. Like, I wish they continued, because Philthy Rich, I can't say he hasn't been able to, but he hasn't, let me say he hasn't yet, you know, crossed that threshold of mainstream success, right? He's done the underground thing, and I still think that he needs to be able to push more over to the East Coast, because, you know, he's a fly guy, and his fashion sense and the way he raps, you know, do good on the East Coast. So this is why the cosign from Jim Jones was really important. And the cosign was so real, it was to the point that Philthy Rich got a tattoo of the Vampire Life logo on his neck. You know what I'm saying? So they was really rocking. Now, the funny thing in the situation is, you know, like I said, Philthy Rich has a lot of money. And no matter who Philthy Rich is around, whether they're Gucci Mane, whether they're Young Dolph, whether it's Mozzie, he's going to shine. And a lot of times he shines more than the other artists. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's rumors about Philthy Rich being in situations where there was a diamond tester and he was testing his diamonds and other people didn't want to test their diamonds. I'm being completely honest. And these weren't just ordinary people. These were celebrities. You understand? So there's levels to this. And a lot of celebrities, let me say a lot of rappers, right? Famous rappers are intimidated by Philthy Rich's, you know, hustle and what he has, because he makes you think about yourself. You know, Mozzie would even admit, like, at times he would be insecure, you know, going to video shoots that he was on records with Philthy Rich on, because, you know, Philthy Rich would pull up, you know, with a lot of ice, and, you know, Mozzie wasn't able to do that. And this is before fame and all of this. This is still in the streets. So Jim Jones, you know, was one of these artists that Philthy Rich would collaborate with that would be insecure about the volume of, you know, Philthy Rich's aesthetic, and his ability to maneuver, despite him not having mainstream success and, you know, on a high level. And, you know, I just think it was one of the situations where, you know, it's just like never outshine the master. Had Philthy Rich been less fortunate or, you know, less able, he would have been in a situation where, you know, Jim Jones probably would have did more for him. But it was just the fact that whenever Philthy Rich comes around, he's going to steal the show. It's facts. And I'm just talking about jewelry. We're not even talking about the cars. Filthy Rich has an elite car selection. You know what I'm saying? Like, collection. So, like, when you have an artist like that who's pulling up Rolls Royce and doing all this, that, and like, bro, and you're supposed to be like the CEO, right? Like, imagine you being Gucci Mane and you sign someone who has more cars than you, more jewelry. You feel me? Like, it for some reason, it makes you envious or it makes you insecure. And this is human nature. So it was like, yeah, Jim Jones wasn't able to deal with that. Because you cannot tell me that Filthy Rich isn't a big deal to have on your squad. Filthy Rich is such a flex, bro. Like, Filthy Rich, I'm going to tell you how lit it is, right? If I was able to sign Filthy Rich at my peak as a rapper, nigga, I would just be a manager. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of them niggas. And I think that Jim Jones wasn't able to take that because you can't, right? It's just one of those things, bro. It's just like, it's obvious to see, bro. Like, we're not gonna ignore the truth, bro. Like, Jim Jones didn't want to not show love because he did records with Filthy Rich, but Jim Jones didn't want to fully get behind, Filthy Rich, because he didn't want to be outshined in the public eye. He wants to be the top dog of New York. It is what it is. And for him to sign a nigga from the West Coast, from Oakland, and have him stunting and shining. Because, listen, let me tell you something. Sacramento, Oakland, like, they got a different culture over there. So they make a lot more money than niggas on the East Coast. Niggas on the East Coast got to do a lot more to get money than niggas on the West Coast. That's just the truth. You feel me? But it's funny, bro, because you don't really see rappers in positions like that. You know what I mean? Because they're always, you know, the one in the front. They always are the one shining the brightest. They're always the one on stage. And when you see an artist who's on I can't say lower, but who's not at your level specifically, and they're able to look like you, or not even that, look better than you, it creates some type of disdain, some type of, I don't know, I gotta back up. You know what I mean? Like, I can't handle the situation. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those. It was like Capo couldn't really handle it. You know what I mean? And I feel as though Capo should have did that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because that would have opened the doors for him on the West Coast more. You know, he should have did mixtapes with him and Filthy Rich. You know what I'm saying? I remember Filthy Rich had the One Mob. You feel me? And Jim Jones had the Vampire Life. If they were able to, you know, collab those two, bro, it would have been big business. You smell me? And there was a point in time when Filthy Rich was running around with Cookie Money a lot. Like, Jim Jones, bro, like, it's like you put your stamp on a brick, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and you got that perico. Like, you're supposed to do that, bro. You're supposed to put your stamp on that brick, bro. You feel me? Like, a real hustler would have did that. And I would have been fine. If it was me, I would have been fine taking a back seat real quick, taking 2 years off to focus on Filthy. You feel me? Because Filthy got talent, bro. He got the work ethic, too. His catalog is crazy, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like the West Coast. He's like Gucci Mane and Jeezy put together. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being real. Like, Filthy Rich is that nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga. No bullshit. Like, me personally, watching Filthy Rich, I made $200,000 just looking at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm telling you, he made me believe I could do it. It's just a fact, bro. But, you know, aside from that, you know, back to Jim Jones, it's just like you drop the ball, and it's like you continue to drop the ball. Like, bro, Jim Jones, Stack Bundles, Max B, Filthy Rich. Like, bro, the list is big, bro. No Diddy. The list is big. You know what I'm saying? Like, these is people that have immense talent, immense work ethics, and you're not getting them to the finish line, bro. Like, I don't understand that. And it's not your responsibility, but at the same time, it's like I feel as though now Jim Jones has this platform with the artist to artist and the Let's Rap About It. So, you know, he's able to take a step back and, you know, create opportunities. But, you know, prior to this show, you know, his sole focus was him, because he'll have all these artists around him. And yeah, he'll do like a little song or whatever, but that's it. he doesn't really get behind the record. He doesn't put money behind it. Like, it just doesn't happen, bro. You understand? And it's like, if Jim Jones ain't shining, no one else is shining. That's just the law. And me understanding how this shit works is just like, bro, y'all could have really shined together. You feel me? Like, y'all could have did that, bro. If you would have really connected with this dude, oh, man, it would have been up. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all really could have got a lot done together, for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, with the relationships that Jim Jones has and the resources that Jim Jones has and then the resources that Philthy Rich has, bro, it would have been crazy. Like, them niggas should have been doing collab tapes. Facts. Those two should have been doing collab tapes. I kid you not. You know what I'm saying? But that's my take on the situation. Y'all let me know. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get to this thither. The crib!